Welcome to Race Talk Show, the talk show where thought leaders share insights on personal development, career growth, and online platform building. And here's your host, your virtual big brother, Ray Collazo. I got the power. Welcome to Race Talk Show. We talk about what you want with people you want to hear. Thank you so much for joining us. This is your virtual big brother, Ray Collazo, and the Race Talk Show community is dedicated to helping people that just want to soar and show their stuff in this world. And in the case of our very special guest, someone that can help us truly become not just the entrepreneur we were meant to be, but a powerpreneur. I love that very powerful, very empowering language. And who better to guide us in that journey than our very special guest to the show, Ivette Mayo. Ivette, welcome to Race Talk Show.
Hola, hola. Buenas tardes. Hello, everybody. How are you, Ray? Thank you again for letting me be on this awesome show and having access to your incredible following.
Oh, Yvette, thank you so much. And Yvette and I were blessed to meet over the spring at Hispanicized Conference. And she's one of these wise Latinas that when she walks into the room, you know she's there. She has a great presence and she backs it up with a lot of substance. And she's really going to help a lot of our friends and even maybe the host of the show today. Let me introduce Yvette to you. Ivette Mayo is the business coach and life coach who helps entrepreneurs and leaders create powerful and impactful results. That's a powerful combination, and Yvette's going to explain to us what that really means and what we really need to focus on when she talks about being a powerpreneur today. She is the leader of the Yo Soy I Am brand, which you can find at yosoyIam.com, as well as Yo Soy Expressions Bilingual Christmas Card Line that you could find at any big box store near you during the holidays. Y lo más importante es la abuela de Lola Nicole. Yvette, thank you so much. Welcome so much to Race Talk Show. We really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, I am so excited. And one of the most important things that we have to remember, if you're listening wherever you are, I know that you have this desire to be, you're at that Wantapreneur stage, or you may be at the entrepreneur stage, but we all want something more. And my goal is to help people to figure out what that more is and how can they make money doing it. Because the reality of it is that we do everything because, it feels good. But the reality of it is, what if you can leave your corporate job today and make a living doing something you love each and every day? So it's possible, and I want to encourage people wherever you are to just stop what you're doing and listen to the information, because it can change you. It can change where you are, but most importantly, where you're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and that's why we have people like Yvette on the show. This is going to be a great conversation. And like I said, I'm going to learn as much as any of the audience members for sure. And for all of our friends here at the Race Talk Show family, finally we were able to get Yvette. This is very exciting. Yvette, so I wanted to, before we get into your really laying out the framework of the powerpreneurship model that you train people around the country on, and you're so gracious with your time today, really lay out later in the show the three tenets of the powerpreneurship model that you train people on all over the country. But I did want to start so people could understand where you're coming from and how you were able to create the Yo Soy I Am brand and be one of the foremost life coaches and trainers around the country. So Yvette, this path did not begin as one of the most influential trainers and speakers and business leaders in America. So Yvette Mayo, where did this journey begin for you?
Well, I have to tell you, after being involved in the corporate world, my business jumped around, or my corporate career jumped around. It jumped around from being, working in a call center to jumping into sales and marketing, and eventually into the professional development field, where I always believed that I had a message, and I was always equipped to be ready to teach. And so once I got into that training arena, I really realized that that's where I had my rhythm. That's where I felt like I got up every day and realized that I was making a difference. So that journey took about 24 years to establish. So for those of you who are out there still trying to figure out where you need to be, I just want you to know it's going to take a little time. And when you reach that place, you will know it, because you will do it with such ease and flow, meaning you'll get up and they won't even have to pay you to do that job. You do it with such joy. And so being in front of a classroom classroom and sharing information that made people better and improved their ability to produce results, or impacted them personally, that's when I realized that's where I needed to stay. So I did that at a major airline called Continental Airlines. They went away. They're now the United Airlines. Um, Airline out there. But I had an opportunity to really affect not only people within my community, but globally. And so one of the interesting things that I got to do there was to always make sure that culture and language was also part of that training development. Why? Because yo soy boricua, I spoke Spanish first, second, and then my second language is English. But one of the things I realized is how much culture was really impacting the business world. We labeled it as, if there was a conflict between an employee and a leader, call HR. But the reality is that leader was not equipped to deal across cultures. So his leadership skills didn't always move into working with somebody that was Hispanic or Asian or even African American, because he's never been exposed to that community. So it affected his ability to lead. So I started noticing these things then, and I've applied that development into all my training now, making sure that culture and language is always part of any leadership, any entrepreneur workshop, any personal coaching, is getting people past their culture, and getting them to understand that sometimes culture can provide barriers for us as well. So that's what started Yo Soy I Am LLC, letting people know that we are multicultural at all times in business and in life. And that's where the banner came into play. My biggest challenge was convincing people where I brought value. Some people just thought that was, mumbo jumbo, that didn't make any sense. We're fine. We live in Florida. We are multicultural. But, as the community started changing, excuse me, sorry. Sorry, I got all choked up. As the community started changing around us, the customers start changing. Their needs change. And guess what? That affected your business. So guess what? Let me help you understand what their needs are, how they approach life and business. That way you can adapt your business and products and services so you can make that connection. So this is where I've been, this is my magic, making sure that we elevate culture and language in everything that we do, and make sure that people understand a multicultural business strategy makes sense, not only for entrepreneurs, but for corporate America today.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there, Yvette, if you can share with us a little bit more. The first one is, and I share this with people, a lot of the people that listen to Ray's talk show are folks that, are already fairly successful people in their field. A lot of them are nonprofit managers or, folks that work in service in various ways. And they're looking to take their talents into something more exciting, more entrepreneurial, and something they're a little more passionate about. And what we try to stress to those folks here on Ray's talk show is that don't feel trapped by your resume, because at the end of the day, it's the skills you're developing, whether you're working in health services or customer service, that you can transfer to other to other careers, and to really use those skills to really speak your voice and your message. So can you talk a little bit about how people can sort of help them identify the skills that they're developing, regardless in what industry it is, that they can transfer over to a new and exciting career?
Well, those transferable skills are really important. And you're right, because let's just say you're in an accounting role. And what do accountants do? Accountants count, they create ledgers, they create that P&L, they do all those various different things. But they also have, you may be someone who has project skills. You can you can you can manage a large project. Not everybody can handle that. So what happens is if you're always stepping up and taking over and leading a project and delegating and ensuring that everyone is participating and contributing, that is something you want to make sure that you highlight in your resume. It may not be your job description, but that is a skill set or a natural ability that you've developed over time that will make sense in your next role. So don't underestimate it, or don't understate it, or don't state it at all. I'm saying state it and throw it in there, because that is what's going to make you stand out from the next person who's applying for that same job. Why? Because those are skill sets that not cannot always be taught. You have that, and you have that natural ability, so you have to highlight it. And we all have unique skills, and it may not be something that is in your job description, as I said a moment ago, but it is something that you have that's going to make you stand out, and it's going to make it's something that a leader needs. And when I'm looking for a leader or looking at that resume, that's the kind of stuff that's going to stick out. Not the person who just does the job. This is something that's out of the norm. I want to hear about it. And the thing about it is that it may not be your job, and it may not be in your job description, but that is something you desire. What I would always encourage people is look outside of your job area or your work area to find opportunities where you can develop these skills, such as at a nonprofit. Going over there and working as a volunteer and taking on the job of the project coordinator of a big launch for an organization. It's not just keeping track of the money, but track of the events and what that does. That lets people know that you're connected to your community and you're learning a new skill. So important to highlight how it's always important to understand that everything that you are doing and learning can be applied not only in this job to give value, but that next job. And one thing I always tell job seekers is, what is your next, where's the next place you want to go? What's the next title? What's the next company? What are things that you need, that that what are skills that you need now that will help you achieve that? And if you can't get it in the current job that you have now, or not, then you need to find an opportunity that will help you establish those skills, such as a nonprofit or an association or another organization, or who knows, even volunteer for a project internally. It's a way to not only showcase yourself, learn a new skill, but adds something else, a unique skill to your resume. Did I answer your question
Yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure. And I would just add to that. That was very well said. And I would just add to that that when you're looking for opportunities to to s- to identify kind of what that next step is and expand your relationships, expand your skill sets. It's really important when you're doing that networking to be deliberate, to go out of your comfort zone. Oftentimes, and I'll even, you'll hear people say, well, the happy hour for the local chamber of commerce, or my sorority, it's great, but it's the same people. And, I'm not sort of building my network and connecting with people that could be part of the next phase of my career that I want to establish. So oftentimes that's going to involve going out of your comfort zone, and it's really important to sort of stretch yourself. And then when you find is, I know that when I started networking, connecting with folks, particularly in the Latino space, producing content, I felt like the newbie a few years ago, and especially a few years ago when there were very few Latinos podcasting. And, I was a little nervous. I don't, you meet these people online, and, you don't want them to think you're a weirdo and all this stuff. And it's actually, I feel it's been very rewarding, because whether it's the larger podcaster communities, or some of these more specific Latino social media influencers, people are looking for like-minded people to network with and to support. And I get. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. All right. No problem. Well, I am a business success coach. Business success coach. As a trainer and facilitator, my job is to always guide people through learning, to teach them things and connect them to things that are going to help elevate them personally and professionally. So that is my goal in life, to be a trainer and a facilitator. Now, public speaking, became a natural progression. I was invited to speak at an event, and I did well. I got invited to another event. Then I'm asked to work with organizations like Latina Style magazine, and they do a business series, and all these wonderful Latina conferences and women's conferences and entrepreneur conferences. And before you know it, I've added speaker to my title. Why? Because that was a area that I moved into. But all of those are platforms which allow me to do exactly what my purpose in life is, to help guide people to information that's going to elevate them personally and professionally. Nothing more, nothing less. The other part of it is I call myself a business success coach is because over my last 12 years as a business owner, I have not only created my own business, a product and a service, but I've also been able to venture out and create multiple revenue streams for my business. And why? Because those were natural progressions of my business. I talk about culture and language. So the stationery came from that. The stationery elevates culture and language. Why? Because I'm a modern Latina. I'm multicultural. I don't speak in perfect Spanish. I don't even pretend to. But I wanted something that was reflective of our community, or women just like myself who want something to send to an amiga or comadre that is either English and Spanish, or a powerful spiritual empowering message that even has little Spanglish in it, because that's just how we roll. So over time, I feel like I've developed these skills and these abilities, and trial and error, lessons learned. I felt that in order to help people save time and money, which is important as an entrepreneur is trying to grow their business, and I cannot overstate that, is that I want to help people understand there's some crucial steps you cannot avoid. And the reason is because it's going to cost you more time and money. So I found myself taking on the title of a business success coach, because my goal is to help you not cut corners, but help bring to light things that you must do in order to grow your business successfully. And if you're interested in doing that, then I am the person for you. Because guess what? I think there's some people out there who play in that entrepreneurial realm. They're just playing with something. They do it a couple hours a week, and then they give up, and then next they're in some multi-level marketing group, or they join some other organization, and that guy or that girl who this week they're selling you lipsticks and eyeshadow, and next week they're selling you electricity, or no. If you really want to grow a business, an idea, then I want to help you. So business success coaching has evolved not only from my teaching background, but also my journey as an entrepreneur. How to take your product and get it on the shelves of a store. How to help the person who has baked goods. How can I give you real strategies to help you sell your business, not 4 cakes at a time, but maybe 50 cakes at a time.
And you know how that goes, Yvette. People are so desperate for change. They're desperate to get this information that they really understand who's out here that's authentic. And you went through some of the steps that people can kind of that allow people the clue the keys to sort of vetting people, and the kind of not just style, but also the kind of credentials and experiences that are warranted to truly be a business success coach, or other kind of coaches that are certainly out there. So the cream rises to the top, I guess, is the bottom line. And
Exactly. And if somebody calls me, I always offer opportunities for people to reach me. I make myself available for people. And then one of the things I like to do is, before I start charging somebody, I want to know who they are and where they are in their idea or in their business. And then once I meet them is when I decide how I can figure out the best strategy to help them. And then so I try to either, I don't try to do packages out there that often that are just kind of just, hey, do this, and here's a webinar, and let's do this. My goal is to make sure that I am helping you grow, not just throw things at you. And so my goal is to take an opportunity to meet someone, find out what their real needs are, where their strengths are, and then we work on developing a strategy. So what I do is, before I make an offer or request money or anything, I want to make sure I know, one, that I'm the right fit for you. And most importantly, you're the right fit for me because you have to be coachable. I have a teaching style that's very direct. You know, I turn into your Puerto Rican mother. I'm going to shake my finger at you. And I'm just going to say, listen, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. What's up? What's going on? You know, what's the challenge? Let's get past this because you need to do this to get to that third step. You haven't done step one or two. We can't go out and target customers unless you've done step one or two. When are we going to get this done? So I'm going to be that. I'm going to be that hard coach. Why? Because sometimes that's what needs to happen.
And that's a
So,
good segue, Yvette. And we want to provide, and Yvette's being so gracious to provide in this episode of Race Talk Show, which you can check out at racetalkshow.com, anywhere you can download a podcast, as well as including now Spotify, which is really exciting. You can check out Race Talk Show on Spotify. Yvette's gonna lay out sort of the 3 tenets of powerpreneurship, which she trains entrepreneurs on every level of development around the country, which is very exciting. Yvette, remind people where they can find you online, and I know you have.
well, first of all, my website is www.yvettemmayo.com, and it's Yvette with an I, Ivettemayo.com. There you'll find information about myself. And then also, if you'd like to schedule some time with me, go on my calendar. On Tuesdays, I do free 30-minute sessions for people. So please go on there and let's schedule some time for us to chat. If you are on Twitter, please, you can find me at Yvette Mayo. I'm on Instagram and Facebook under those same headers, Yvette Mayo or Yvette Mayo, whichever you prefer. I answer to both. But one of the most important things that we always want to make sure is my favorite hashtag is power on. I use the word power a lot because why? Because I feel that we all have a unique gift and talent, and that's our unique power. And unfortunately, we relinquish that power many times, whether through our actions or through our words. But one of the things that I want people to be in business is powerful. We as a community, whether we're Latinos, African American, Asian, men or women, we have the ability to really soar. And so that's why I love working with somebody like Ray, who is looking for ways to help people get elevated to that next level. So if you like what I'm saying, make sure you tag me on Facebook, Instagram, or like me, connect with me, however you want to do it. But make sure that we stay
And
connected.
let's get to it because the powerpreneurship model, which is really exciting, and Yvette's one of the foremost authorities on in terms of training and coaching people around the country to get kick-started with entrepreneurship and take it to the next level. So Yvette, you have 3 tenets of this model that you wanted to share with people. So let's start with the first tenet of
Okay.
powerpreneurship.
Well, let's say this. When it comes to entrepreneurship, there's no clear path to success. Everyone is different. The challenge every entrepreneur faces is that they have to find their own means of success, given their business, their situation, their timing, and most importantly, their resources. So as I mentioned before, there are people out there who are Wantapreneurs who are kind of struggling on, okay, I have an idea, I need to move. And then there's those people who are in that solopreneur state where they're just running a business all by themselves. My goal is to get them to that powerpreneur. So one of the things that we have to remember is that wherever you are, your goal is to get to that powerpreneur stage. So to become a powerpreneur, you have to spend a great deal of time working hard to learn and apply new knowledge to your business and to your industry. That's the number one step. You've got to learn to invest time to learn. But the second part of that statement is you have to activate, you have to put into action. Stop visiting every free webinar, stop visiting every free workshop that is out there if you're not going to apply the knowledge to your business, because everything applies to you in some way. For instance, you're going to go to an accounting. Every good business needs a good accounting system or good accounting principles. Go and apply them. Create a way to handle your money because you're going to generate money, so you have to be able to manage your money. Okay, and if you know that that is not your space, then you need to find someone who can manage your money for you. But take time to learn, but most importantly, apply that knowledge. Okay, now The reason these steps are real important as we go to the second one and the third one is because you always have to start with the end in mind. How you start is how you finish. So whether you're that Wantapreneur or that solopreneur, you want to make sure that you are putting things in place that are going to help you grow along the way. And once you put them in place, they're going to carry you through your success. So you're just adding to it, not reinventing or starting it halfway through. Now, what's important in the next step is developing realistic growth strategies. So here you are sitting in your office or in your space within in your home. Develop some realistic growth strategies. Where do you want to be in 3 years? Not 3 weeks, not 3 days, not 3 months, 3 years. And then possibly 5 years. See, most people want to build a business so their kids can maybe inherit and take over after they're done. But the surprise is your kids don't want to do your business. They want to, they've gotten their own education. They want to move somewhere else. They want to move to another part of the country. They want to get as far away from you as possible. And the last thing they want to do is run the janitor service, run your accounting business. They don't want any part of it. So then what happens to your business? You're building it, but you're thinking that they want it and they don't. So build a really strong strategy that is right for you. And those things include things like hiring a team and your marketing and your branding. Sales, who's your target audience, how you're going to get to them, activities on how you're going to reach these people so you can grow. And you heard me say hire a team, because you see, you cannot be the only source of knowledge and activity in your business. And so that's one of the places that we have to grow or think of in terms of growing our business. We have to be able to duplicate ourselves or bring people into our business that complement us. For instance, I'm a very creative person, and accounting is something that's a sore spot for me. I hate it, but I need it because it's instrumental to my business. So what do I have? I have an accountant that comes into my business a couple times a month, and she does all my bookkeeping for me. She can do what I can't do in just a matter of 2 or 3 hours. That money is well spent. Why is that? Because we think that we have to do everything from turning on the lights to mopping the floor to writing the contract, doing cold calls. We need to create teams. The other component in the third section that we're going to talk about is creating or developing structure. As you're sitting back now, you're looking at the business that you're trying to build or currently have built. Where's your structure? Do you have documentation? Do you have a mission statement? Do you have objectives? What objectives are you trying to meet this year, not just this week? Do you have contracts in place? Do you have agreements in place? What are legal agreements that you can have in your city, or in your county, or in your state? Do you have a customer service policy? What is your refund or your return policy? You can't just take somebody's money and not provide a service and then say, I can't give you your money back, or I can give you a credit. Well, how are you going to do that? These structures are really, really important, because that's what you're building your business on. It's called your foundation. Now, this foundational thinking and structure is so critical, because I asked you a minute ago, what is your growth strategy? And I built my business to someday sell it. I know that may be like wrong thinking in some people's mind, but in my mind is I want to make enough money where I can be productive, and I can either hire people to take over my business or sell my business so I can go live on a beautiful tropical island for the rest of my days. That's my vision for self, and I hope that you have that too. But what's important here is this last step is so important, because once you get to that next level and you've grown your business successfully, there's going to be an investor who's going to knock on your door, and they're going to say, I want in. They're not buying you. They're buying the success structure that you've created for your business. They want to know, and they want insurance. They want to insure their investment. So they want to be able to produce, you have to be able to produce sound information for sound business practices, because that's what they're going to build the rest of their business on. And if you can't produce that for an investor, then guess what? You just lost the opportunity to inject capital into your business. The
You
last
know,
part. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. Well, there's just one last part there too, is when you sell your business, guess what? They're not buying you. They're buying your success model. They're going to buy it
That's right.
and they're going to take this structure, your policies, your products and everything. They're going to carry on and that's what their success is going to build on. So this structure is something that you're building at the very beginning of your business. You continue to keep growing it as your business grows. So when it's time to say hasta luego, I'll see you later, arrivederci, you have now given them something that they can sustain the growth of the business from that point on. So the three things I just mentioned to you is make sure that you apply the learning that you have learned at these events or this, these various different workshops, webinars, whatever it is, apply that to your business. Secondly, create a realistic growth strategy for your business. But the last part is really important, developing that structure. See, these three components will assure that as you grow your business from that Wantapreneur stage to that Powerpreneur stage, the power is in what's written. The power is there because guess what happens if you are no longer available to be in your business each and every day? That knowledge is gone. You're doing everything and no one can step in and help you to continue. So it's yours. This is your life raft. You have to be able to sustain your business with these three
Yeah,
steps.
no, this is powerful information, Yvette, and I want to get to the question. I solicited on our Facebook community questions for Yvette Mayo from Yo Soy I Am brand, and of course YvetteMayo.com. Spell it with an I. We have a lot of Yvettes that spell it both with Y or I, but this is our number one Yvette with an I. She had many questions, but it boils down to essentially the question around focus as it relates to structure. So, she's a solopreneur. This is Christina. She's got a photography business, and I know from personal experience, she's very good at what she does. But she's a solo act, like so many of us are. And it seems from her questioning that she sort of has hit a plateau because she's a solo act, and now she's looking to take her business to the next level. So, for those that are looking to build that structure, maybe they already have a sound business model and are starting to generate some income. What's the first step, Yvette, to when thinking about how to building out that structure for your business?
Well, one of the interesting things that Christina has is that I had this recently happen with me taking some pictures. Um, the person who is the photographer is taking on, they have the ability to take pictures of weddings, different life events, whatever they may be, or it just may be taking headshots for a growing, a growing practice or an entrepreneur, is understanding the copyright laws. Is if you take the picture and you take 100 pictures, are you going to give away all 100 pictures to that person? Because technically, those pictures you've taken them and they've only paid for, in your packaging as you're developing this packaging. Are you going to give them all of them or X amount of them? And what are you going to do to those pictures? Are you just going to take them and give it to them and perfect it? So what I'm talking about now is you have to develop the idea of what you're willing to do for the price. So the gentleman who I worked with recently, I thought was really interesting. What he said to me is this is what I charge, and we will spend an hour and a half, 90 minutes taking pictures. You can do up to 3 different um, wardrobe changes, and then what I will do is out of all the pictures I will give you to review, I will only give you this amount. You're not getting all pictures taken within that session because some of them are just not worth it for in his opinion. And then once you've taken those pictures, I'm going to take 10 of those and I'm going to highlight those for you, and I'm going to just take all the little strings out or fix wrinkles or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to do all of this for $350. Okay, now this is what he said to me. I had to sign the agreement before I took those pictures. I knew exactly what I had to, what I was expecting. What was interesting though is he said that because he took the rest of these all these pictures, that basically the rest of the pictures were copyrighted. They were his because he took the camera. So I was like really taken aback. I'm like, well, what is he going to do with these pictures? They're of me. Do I want those pictures out there? So him and I had to negotiate that. And he said I was the first person who ever questioned that. In all the years that he's been doing business. So the first thing that I want to make sure is that you understand copyright laws, what you have the right to use, because especially if you're taking pictures and you're putting them on your website. And so that way people can see these various different settings and your skill sets, whether you're taking still shots or action shots or product shots. You need to clarify that copyright law so that you can apply that the best way to your business. The other thing is understand pricing, because 350 may seem like a lot of money to some people, but some people are
Yeah, that's
saying
a good
he just
deal,
gave
Yvette. You
that
got a good
away.
deal. Well, you're a strong
So
negotiator. That's what it is.
yeah,
You drive a hard bargain.
yeah. I do. I do. But the thing about it is that it's also what the market will stand, can withstand. And if you're a great photographer and you really provide more than you go beyond that, then justify your pictures, then justify your pricing. And let me just tell you something. Those pictures are priceless, and I need them. I'm looking for someone to do my granddaughter's pictures and her 1-year-old pictures here. And some people are like, I'm like, really? I mean, who's coming? Obama himself? The prices were outrageous. But the reality of it is that you also have to make sure that you differentiate yourself. What makes you unique in the marketplace? You're just not a photographer showing up. You are going to provide something unique and special. What is going to be that thing that's going to make you stand out from everybody else? And then the other component, if you have established clients that love you, ask them to give you a testimonial. Put that on your website. Put it out there with your pictures so people know not only do you have great clients, but what clients are saying about you. Because that is the best referral anybody can get. A great testimonial from a happy client. That's what's going to make stand out, because guess what? We live in a society where people now believe what other people say, even if they're strangers. Because they said it and it's online, so it must be true, right? So use that, leverage that in your business. Get those people to put those words out there about who you are. So when you charge your price and you show up, they
Very,
know they're getting
very
value.
important that several things Yvette said there, but that last piece I want to just emphasize to our listeners here at Ray's Talk Show is that at the end of the day, it goes both ways. Obviously, as a customer, you have the right to negotiate what you think is a reasonable price. But at the end of the day, if you show that value, you show that, how would you say that, what makes your work distinct, and you show the value of your work, you cannot be shy to price yourself at the level that you're at. Oftentimes, especially from, people just starting out, they feel, they'll essentially give it away, right? Because they, and that sometimes that strategically helps because you're building up a client base and you're just starting. But at the end of the day, you don't want to price yourself out of a business. And we have to be,
No.
we have to be confident in who we are and ask for what we need to do things that are requisite to our talents and skills. The other part of this, I would think, our friend
Exactly.
Christina here, the photographer, and I know a lot of people that are photographers and artistic types, DJs, and all kind of good folks that we know. That I know that a lot of times their struggle with taking their businesses to the next level is they haven't thought through, thinking about the strategy piece, Yvette, is how they're going to leverage your talents and skills. So, taking it so that it's not just you, it's not the whole business is incumbent on you taking the picture or DJing the party or throwing the, planning the event. So can you talk about, for these solopreneurs, how they getting them out of that solo mindset so they can leverage a real business that isn't just wholly that's totally relied on their precious time.
Well, two things. All of this is to protect two two resources, your biggest resources, time and money, which are both limited. Let's just really be honest with, with everybody who's listening. You have so much money and you have so much time, and you have to do the best you can. So as you're developing this structure is that you have to build your business so you can stop managing your business, but you start leading in your business, because we all have to eventually lead, not just manage. And so as you are also thinking, no one can do what I do. No one can, I cannot be replaced. This is my business and I have to do it because it's mine. I just want to tell you, you just need to take that philosophy or that thought process and put it in a box with a key and a lock and put it in the back of your closet, because that is not a mentality that's going to help you grow. Grow means that you bring on people that generate activity, that generate revenue for your business. So that's the first thing. We have to create that mental shift. As a coach, that's the first thing we have to talk about. We have to create a shift, and the shift is emotional and mental. So let's get that out of the way. The most important thing you have to remember is that you have unique skill sets. I recognize mine to be in front of people, to be creative, and I am a thought leader, so I'm always figuring out new ways to do things, but I am not an accountant. So you see, I said that again because I recognize my weakness. I'm not going to become a great accountant overnight, and nor do I desire to, but that function is critical to my business growth. So I have to spend money so I can save time, so I can be in front of my customer. So you have to see how things work. By giving up, spending money in my business on something that I do not like to do but needs to be done, I am freed up so I can do the things I need to do best, and that is to get in front of my customers and sign that next best client. So I'm generating money while spending money. You see how that makes sense? We think, oh my God, I'll just do it myself. I'm telling you, you can't. Stop fooling yourself. And here I go. I'm being your strong Puerto Rican mother again. Stop fooling yourself. You are spending money on or you're spending time where you can be saving money. And at this point, a good leader has to understand that. The other part of that is that we have to be comfortable to hire the right people and bring the right people into your business. Don't hire somebody because they're blood related. They're your tia, your cousin, your nephew, and they need a job.
Well,
because
that's
nobody
a
will
red
hire
flag
them.
in itself.
Well,
Right?
guess what? That's a red flag. Don't hire them. It's just
Oh, that's so
you.
important. I mean,
Focus on
my goodness.
bringing quality people into your organization. So if I'm going to hire somebody, I want to have a great assistant, someone who can help me make phone calls, cold calls, set up my appointments, confirm things for me. That's a quality person in my life who is just as strong and dynamic and vivacious as I am. Why? Because they represent me. Okay, they represent the core values of my company, and they represent what I want projected out in the community. Don't hire, your nephew who just again can't get a job, can't keep a job, and can't show up on time. Right. So one thing that I'm going to say to you, and it's so important: hire right, fire fast. Oh my goodness. Hire right, fire fast. That's a
It's
hashtag.
true.
That's,
Cut your
tag,
losses.
whatever.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
small as small businesses, as we're creating these structures, is we're bringing in people to take on things that are going to help you grow. If you have to manage them to manage your job, they're not right for you. Bring people on. Tell them, you're on a 90-day probationary period. I'm gonna struggle to pay you, but you have a function to, within this organization, and you need to perform it. If I don't feel that you are right for this organization and right for me, in 90 days, I'm gonna let you go. All right, do that. That's not helping them, but it's gonna help you. And if they're the right person, guess what? You'll get past those 90 days, and you'll be glad you did it. But if they're not, you know that they're on a short window. So these structures and these things are important because they do two things: they save you money and they save you time. And by doing those, it helps you grow so you can generate revenue, that you need to grow your
You know,
business.
there was something you said, Yvette, that I wanted to ask you about, which I'm sure a lot of our folks out here who are very talented people struggle with. And it's so infuriating to me because our audience members and just people that I know in our community are the reason I do the show. They're so talented and they just need an outlet and a community of people that'll support them so they can soar, and they're oftentimes women, oftentimes Latinas, they're overqualified, they're bored at their job, they're running circles around their supervisors, and they just need that outlet and a platform to really soar and do the damn thing. And even some of the most talented people struggle with identifying their talents. And you mentioned earlier in this conversation that, you had a pretty good sense of kind of what your strengths were and also your weaknesses. So any thoughts on folks that are struggling with trying to figure that out? And again, it oftentimes happens to the people amongst us that are the most talented. Maybe have too many talents as part of their challenge. But just any thoughts on that you wanted to share with people, how they can do an assessment that can really identify their strengths?
Well, you know what? So do me a favor. If I have a great little assessment, if you want to take it, just send me an email to Yvette@YvetteMayo.com. I'll send you a link, and it walks you through several different questions that gives you an opportunity to find out where your real strengths are. And you'll really love the opportunity to. And now it's about 70 questions, so don't freak out.
Wow.
But don't freak out, but do it.
So you're the Puerto Rican mom and the Puerto Rican teacher at the same time. A lot of homework there.
Yeah, but the reason is because it gives you an idea of what's important to you, what your core values and what your core strengths are. And the reason is because that gives you an idea. Like for instance, I would never be an accountant, so why would I apply for an accounting job? And so if I had an accounting component in my job, I struggled with it. So I know what I hate. I know what I hate. It's come with experience. But the reality of it is that there is a lot of women, and I'm talking to my hermanas now. There are a lot of women who are in that transitional place where, look, I'm tired of being productive. I just want to be more purposeful. I need to do more than what I'm doing. I need to affect more lives. So I'm there with you. So this is where I've kind of putting my energy into this. So this assessment, I'll be happy to send you the link. It's again Yvette@YvetteMayo.com. I'll send you the link. Take it, and then I want to know what the answers are, because what happens is as you're moving into that next space, that's letting you know that these are the next job or the next thing you do for yourself has to incorporate these things, because those are your points of satisfaction, those are your points of fulfillment, and those are your points of purpose. And so that's where we want to focus on, because I think we all work hard. I'm more than just punching a clock and showing up and doing my 9 to 5. I'm at a point now where I am broken. I can't work for someone. I can't. I am broken when it comes to that. I find fulfillment in knowing that I can get up and do what I want and I'm in control. That freedom is so important. But guess what? I'm responsible for everything. The money, what's being spent, how it's coming in, who gets paid, who doesn't. Negotiating, I have a lot of responsibility, but guess what? I'm doing it for me and I love it. So I guess I was always bound to be in this space in this time, but I needed to go through that 20 some odd year course or obstacle course of learning and disappointment to understand and appreciate where I am and why I am in the space I am now. So it's part of the journey. Don't discount it, because guess what? The last corporate job I had was for 17 years. The last 10 years of that career were so instrumental in developing the foundation of who I am and where I am right now. So you have to go through this journey in order to get to that next place. So for those women who are out there, I am here. This is what I'm talking about, being authentic and knowing that I've gone through something similar to that, and I can be empathetic to your process, but most importantly, give you some real insights on how to overcome where you are today.
Well, Yvette Mayo from the Yo Soy I Am.com brand, and of course Yvette Mayo, spell it with an I.com. You've been so generous with your time today and your passion and your insights and your tough love at times during this conversation, but we need that sometimes for sure. And remind people again, Yvette, where they can find you. I know you've got a lot going on. You're going to be appearing And I mean, you have a lot going on, so please make sure people know where to find you. And
Well, there's a lot of things going on, but Ray, first of all, gratitude is something that can never ever be overstated. So I just want to thank you for sharing your platform and for giving me a chance to share my insights. But I want everybody to go from that Wantapreneur to that POWERpreneur stage, and also to find where their purpose is. And so I'm here, so you can find me, of course, as I said before, at www.yvettemayo.com. An email quickly over to Yvette at yvettemayo.com, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those things, making it simple for you, yvettemayo.com. And Ray, I have to tell you, I just want to thank you. And I have to tell you one quick story, and then I'm going to jump off and let you close out. But I had an opportunity to share the stage with a friend and mentor, Nellie Galan, here in Houston a couple of weeks ago. She recently wrote a book called Self-Made, Becoming Empowered, Self-Reliant, and Rich in Every Way. In that book, she featured 20 women that she labeled as disruptive innovators. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those 20 women in that book. And I had an opportunity to ask her, because she told me I was in this book, and I was just so honored that I was being able to be part of this collection of women. But I asked her, I said, Nellie, why me? Why me? And she said to me, Yvette, because you asked me to help you. And she says, in all the people and all the workshops and all the places that I go, I offer people the opportunity to call me that I will help them, and they never do. She says, I met you 8 years ago, and you picked up the phone and you called me, and I helped you, and you did what I asked you to do. And that meant so much to me. So you are in the book simply because you asked. And so I want to say this to you: whoever you come across, a powerful leader, an innovative, an innovator, a thought leader, whoever you come across and you need something, ask for it. They're willing to help. They're willing to help. So guess what happened with me? I got involved. I got to be part of this book, a New York bestsellers book, because I asked questions. So never fail to ask the right questions. So with that, Ray, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who's listening, and I hope that we change your thinking, how you feel, but most importantly, what you're going to do about your business and you seeking your purpose.
thank you so much, Yvette. And for those not familiar with Nellie Galan, I mean, this was quite a moment, quite an acknowledgement of Yvette's leadership. Nellie is we like to tease, the Cuban American Oprah to some degree, just someone with an incredible media and business platform, and it was very well deserved, that opportunity, Yvette. I'm so proud of you. And again, we want to thank Yvette Mayo from the YoSoyIam.com brand, as well as Yvette Mayo, spell it with an I.com, and for shining your ray of light. And I know our listeners have gotten so much out of this conversation. I know I have. And again, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to Ray's Talk Show anywhere you can find a podcast: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify now, is iHeartRadio coming up in the next few days. And always check out all of our content at rayspodcast.com. That's RAYS podcast.com. Muchas gracias, Yvette, and we'll be in touch very soon. And again, congratulations on all your success.
Besito. And power on, everyone. #power on.